Okay, are we good to get started, Tony?
1 second, please. Yes, we are.
Okay. I call to order this meeting of the Public Art Committee of February 28th, 2024 at 2:07 p.m. We will now begin recording and live streaming. Is the court reporter present?
I am present, sir.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Una,
Present.
Bethia,
Present.
Martinez,
Present.
McDill,
Present.
Ornstein, do not think is present right now, and Lucas.
Present.
Thank you.
Approval of commission minutes. Does any commissioner have any comments on last month's minutes? Okay. No one has any comments. May we have a motion to approve the minutes of from last month?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Okay, and roll call for that approval. Una,
Aye.
Bethia,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
McDill.
Aye.
Do we have any? Oh, yes.
And then we are, this time is a little different because we're also going to do the annual meeting minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Can we please unblock the agenda? It's not viewable on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
It looks like there's another window open.
oh,
over top of
sorry.
it.
I think
Thank you. No worries.
is it good now?
Perfect. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And so also for approval of the annual meetings minutes, do any commissioners have any comments on those minutes? Okay. May we have a motion to approve the minutes from the annual meeting?
Make motion to approve the minutes from the annual meeting.
Seconded.
Okay. Roll call for that approval. Una,
Aye.
Bethia,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
McDill.
Aye.
Moving on to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
We did not have any new correspondence this month.
Okay. And do we have any public comment?
Registered ahead of time, and I do not see anyone in the audience indicating, so no.
Okay. And there are no items on today's agenda. And so we will continue on to hearing and action. And so I'll be recusing myself from the hearing and action portion of the agenda and will return at the conclusion of motions for the director's report.
Okay. The item on the agenda is Homewood Park Public Art. I'll go ahead and get the intro and get us up to speed there. So previously, the Homewood Park Public Art Project was reviewed by the commission last month, which included the projects by 4 artists. That application last month was given a continuance as there had been community feedback that indicated further planning was desired on one of the projects to ensure that there was alignment between the needs and desires of the community, while also, with the artist and being respectful of their work as well. That project has been taken out of the current review while we continue to work toward what will be a mutually agreeable and fair outcome on that project. So that one will be updated later. So for today, the other three artists that had components of that project remain in the review that's up for approval. At the time of the continuance last month, we asked if there was anything further needed in regards to the review of those artist projects. And the general indication was that those reviews were essentially complete unto themselves. So what we have is we have those materials up here, and we are respectfully asking for the approval of those projects to move forward. And I'll just kind of slide through these as
Tony, can you do me a favor and scroll back down to the Bulldog?
Mhm.
Okay.
So first, so yeah, we can just review these real quick here, or just review these. So Cameron Nesbitt, his project is sculpture of a bulldog.
Okay,
which would
what,
be-
a few questions. What is a bulldog made out of again? I'm just clarifying some stuff for myself.
Mhm.
Fiberglass.
Yeah, so here, this slide indicates a little bit more of the technical specs there. So it's a steel framework with fiberglass and a polyurethane coating and paint.
Okay, fine. Please continue.
Can I just say on that, I do think the one piece that I had about this, clearly people were excited about it, was just the maintenance of the integrity over the life of the project. That is what we're required to ask about the function. And so I don't feel like that we do need to, even if it's approved, make the stipulation that that is a part of what is also kept in the forefront.
Okay, thank you. And that could certainly be included in that motion. That's the location of the bulldog, and there will, at the end of these slides, there is a map showing all locations together. Juliandra Jones, the second artist, her project is kind of a larger series of footprints, going kind of the full length of the field from one end into the center and the other end into the center.
Tony, quick question on that one, just for clarification. Are those ADA compliant or? Yeah, because I understand it was like 1/4 of an inch. That's not going to cause any tripping hazards, et cetera, et cetera.
No, it's a good question. We checked with everyone here. We checked at DPW. It's fairly shallow, so it does not present any ADA issues or tripping. It's kind of the same as a lot of decorative depths that might be in pavement.
Okay, that's fine.
And the third artist is Naja Moon. As you recall, her project is a installation on the fence, which will be done with community participation, with light painting to create the shapes of those letters. And there's some hardware information on those. And these are the 3 locations.
So the only feedback I do want to add as a part of that motion on this with syllogism is around aesthetic. And I think it's very important. One, the sample she gives in the text treatment of other projects is very legible. I think with the movement of the light and things like that, I'm not certain that the statement will be as legible from the sample. So I just want to mention that in terms of the aesthetics of the project. And I also wanted to just mention that while community is going to have input, I want to make sure they don't just have input on one aspect. So if the saying or the other pieces, just being mindful that when we talk about community having input, it's not just here's the project, you have input after the fact, but will they have input to maybe change what the saying is since you determined it already, or input on the text, for instance, on the fence. So those are the two things that I wanted to mention in terms of that project.
I have a couple of questions as well. Mr. Cataline, you have informed me that when Mr. Auna is out, that I'm the de facto second in charge. So I want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence as well in terms of questions that I have. So
Okay.
I would like to have an idea and also get input, of course, from the other commissioners as to the separation of the project. Is that something we normally do, or are we setting a precedence that perhaps we don't want to set by moving the project away from its group presentation?
So the projects were received a preliminary review that was individual, and then they were grouped for the hearing and action. In this case, we don't have a lot of precedent for including multiple artists in one, so it would rather be, I think it would be the other way that would actually be more unusual, to have them all grouped than to have them be reviewed individually. I guess we could, discuss that a little bit more, but I can't think of a time in the recent history where we have kind of held them all to the one review as much. So that was the part that was a little unusual, or a little, just outside of the standard.
And also, since we weren't party to those discussions with Mr. Auna, he agreed also to have his project separated from the project?
Yes.
Okay, so that it could be considered for other options.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the only other question that I have is basically about process, because I want to make sure that I'm actually unhappy that some of the Homewood people are not here to discuss this, because in my mind, I'm not understanding how it got to this point. I would think by the time it reached us, they would have adjudicated all those issues that they had, or most of them. So it appeared in listening last time that people like Mr. Auna just came out of the woodwork and presented this mural, and there was no support for it. When in fact, we know that there was support, at least from two entities, which are the Bible Church Center and the Legacy Arts Project. So I'm not understanding what we're weighing this information on. I would assume the other two entities are community, and that they are people, that they're more than one person. It is a group of people in both cases. So I don't quite understand how it got to us unadjudicated, with people upset, when in fact somebody in the community must have agreed to do it, or it wouldn't have came to us in the first place. So I want to have a better understanding of that. It almost seems like a 50-50 split to me. So I'm,
Sure. And I think that's a fair point to talk a little bit about, but that project is not up for review today, so I want to make sure that we note that process is not leading to any of the projects that are up for approval today. So sorry, I'm trying to navigate that. Kevin, can you help me?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, the three projects, or the three artists before the commission today, I think what are being discussed during the hearing action. When, Miguel's project returns to the commission, I think that's the place to have a discussion about the engagement, history of engagement, and, public meetings up to that point.
I'm understanding that completely. I'm just not understanding why the weight of the other two organizations isn't just as important as the calls. Or are you saying because they didn't call in, they weren't here to support? Because again, he is supported. It sounded from that call that he was not supported. I just want to be sure that that other support is recognized, and how do we, I guess, figure out the weight and the balance of the calls versus the support we know he has for the project that Mr. Auna has. And how, you know what I mean? I'm concerned about that in terms of our vote, because I feel like the community definitely should be respected and get what they want. But I also want the commission to be respected for our time, and also Mr. Auna to be respected for his time. So, going forward, if this comes up again and there's a 50-50 split, I just want to be comfortable about how we handle that. And, and move forward with something that's fair.
I guess I'm, oh, sorry, Tony, if you want to jump
No,
in.
I think that's absolutely right. I'm just cognizant of that project not being on review today. And as it's not on review today,
I have a clarifying question that might help us move forward. When would the appropriate time and place be for the commission to have that conversation, if not today?
I think that would be when that project is before the commission. And at that time, of course, Mikkel would be part of the conversation.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, Tony, but time and people's actions have caused change, right? The last meeting, it was made clear that Mikhail's piece was not eligible to be removed from the project. And now we're seeing in hindsight that yes, it was possible, and yes, it did happen. And so given that, we are dealing with a new project now, which again, these are not binary good, bad things, but it is the reality. And so how do we have a conversation about reality given these bureaucratic constraints? If not today, then when?
Exactly. I just don't want us setting a precedent that we have to stick to in the future when this is an unusual circumstance. If that's the case, then let's say that, and we don't have to bring in the other group. We just need to understand what parameters even working under this means. If this is odd and unusual and never happened before, we should know.
I just want to chime in also. This is not necessarily in direct response to the two requests, but it is about this in general, which is, we know that community, when we use that word, is made up of, social norms, things that are shared. There is a community of a sports group inside the larger Black community and community members writ large in Homewood. It is my hope moving forward that as commissioners, we do more to educate partners who need to show up for artists. Mikkel should have not had to present, nor should any artist in the context of these types of panels come as an artist singularly and combat a segment of a population having been a part of this. So I think it is our responsibility as commissioners moving forward also, now that we are in this, we have signed up and agreed to be a part of this, to make sure that all members of community, those who gave the letters of support to Mikkel, those who represent distinct voices, some of which were expressed during that meeting, are at these meetings and at these hearings, so that even in terms of how the meetings go, there is this clear distinction of people who are in support of the project as well. So I'm not discounting I'm only adding to what you all are sharing about the uniqueness of this, some of the bureaucracy that took place, but also the role and responsibility that now we know we have moving forward to making sure that voices that are in community writ large are a part of the conversation in its totality, as much as we can make sure that that happens in support of artists in this space.
That feels generative, Shonda. I would second that. And again, to reiterate my question, Tony, like, is our only opportunity as a commission to look at process and procedure our annual meeting?
That the two annual meetings are designed for that. I think that there's, jump in here, Kevin, if you have any thoughts while I'm sort of working them out as I'm saying them. I think that there is room certainly for discussions. I think kind of the cohesive procedural discussions with both committees making up the entire commission were kind of imagined to take place twice a year in this scheme. Yeah.
I guess you could ask what's leading to that question, and then I guess as commissioners, if you're looking to update rules and procedures, I think
Yeah,
you
no,
can make
happy
that
to
motion to
respond to that,
update
Kevin.
rules and procedures as the commission. So,
Well, what became very evident to me in this sequence of meetings was how little context the commission has by way of committee organizing, how committees are selected, who ends up being on committees, that offers of support are often not channeled through or by said committees, and that it seems that the commission, to Shonda's point, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Representative Commissioner McGill said, we could be a valuable asset by way of unearthing how committees are selected, organized, and facilitated to and with, right? We are selected as commissioners because of our space as working artists and members of said communities, right? And so I think it would do a lot to build trust and just greater transparency and fluency through a bureaucratic process. And again, this is not a critique of bureaucracy. It's just, it is a system by which we are being confined. And I do think that we could be put to work more as a commission. I feel like we are largely underutilized and leveraged. And because we do not receive enough context when proposals come to our inboxes, it leaves us not being able to ask higher level critical questions until information is given to us in real time, and it causes confusion, poor communication, and it really leaves me personally immediately as if I cannot make informed decisions.
Yeah, I appreciate the thoughts from my fellow commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner McGill, Commissioner Martinez. I think that we all basically are feeling the same way. We feel a little blindsided and a little bit, we want to do the right thing for everyone, but we also understand that, you know, there is a process and we need to be very clear about the process, especially if we're going to be setting precedent that art can be carved away from things. And you're saying it's usually the other way around, that normally things are presented individually. If that's the case, then why were they grouped? You know what I mean? How are they able to get this far if there were issues? It seems like that should have got hammered out in community. There's just a bunch of questions that, you know, by the time it gets to us, I would presume we are talking about ADA compliancy and other sustainable issues and whatever, and not necessarily talking about whether the community likes it or not. Hopefully that got hammered out a lot earlier. So, you know, so going, you know, so as I said, you know, are we setting precedent? We don't want people to go back and say, oh, we're going to be able to do that because those commissioners said it was okay. We just want to be comfortable that whatever decision we make today on the 3 remaining things doesn't become this classic thing where every time something comes up, it's going to get parsed out or blocked in, or, you know what I mean? I don't want that to be a continuation of how we do business on the commission.
Yeah, there's no case law associated with the commission, so there's no real precedent set. So each project is carried on its own, reviewed on its own merit. So there's no future precedent or past precedent.
All right.
And I will I will add to that point and to your point, Commissioner Martinez. There is a lot that has been learned and continues to be learned over the course of time in these projects, with the new format of percent for art projects that is not tied to a timeline and that has all of these other differences that have come into play. I think you're going to see a much different process coming toward you, with early briefings that we're planning on doing, a lot of I don't know what the word is, a lot of room timeline wise for some really invested community engagement that we've kind of already begun. We're very excited about that. It doesn't change the review today, but I do want you to know that your points are being thought of and are being addressed.
I really appreciate that, Tony. Thank you for acknowledging that and for the work that is happening internally to address that.
Yeah, we realize that you guys have to deal with this stuff on a real-time basis, just as we do. But, since we're your folks, we just want to make sure that we're doing things properly and that, we understand what the rules are and what the guidelines are.
With that, I'm going to make a motion that we accept the art as proposed for this project with the consideration that the artist for the Bulldog, Camo Nesbitt, be asked to address function and maintain an integrity of the Bulldog's paint over time, whatever is going to be the coat over the fiberglass, and its care. And also that Najamoon for syllogism consider the legibility of what the statement is on the fence, as well as making sure that community has continued input on what the statement is ultimately. And finally, that, of course, ADA compliance is a part of the walkway for Julie Andrew Jones.
I second that motion.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner McDill, seconded by Commissioner Bethia. We'll do roll call for that motion. Bethia.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
McDill.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you for the robust discussion. We continue that in the future. So that concludes that project review. So Commissioner Owuna is welcome to rejoin.
Thank you, commissioners. And to conclude today's meeting agenda, do we have a director's report?
We do. Happy to announce that starting next month, boards and commission meetings for city planning are moving back into person. More of a hybrid option of in-person, the YouTube stream, and Zoom. So a little bit of background, if we all recall, during the pandemic, the state passed legislation allowing public meetings to go virtual. That has since lapsed. And so bringing City of Pittsburgh boards and commissions back into compliance with the state, we need to provide an in-person option. So the Planning Commission started that last week, and then next week, Planning Commission in person again, along with Historic Review Commission, and then the March meeting for PACD will be in person as well. This is a temporary, well, the location will be in the city county building. that is temporary until our hearing rooms at 402 Boulevard of the Allies are complete sometime late summer, early fall. I think, June, July, potentially August, around that time frame. So we've identified the learning lab in the city county building, which is on the 6th floor. So we'll be sending out updates on the agenda and website as well. The one kind of logistical item with the learning lab is that it closes at 5 p.m. So in the event that we have agenda items for Civic Design Committee, we may just need to adjust that time from starting at 4 p.m. to potentially earlier. So a couple of ideas there where we adjust the entire commission time to start before 1 o'clock, before 2 o'clock, potentially 1 o'clock, or instead of having we keep the 2 o'clock start time instead of having like 4 o'clock start time. We just have one commission start time, and this is a 1 o'clock if there's civic commission meetings. So for instance, today, civic design we start after this director's report instead of a 4 o'clock time. So we could determine some of that and staff and bring that to the commission ahead of time. But would like to open up, hear your thoughts.
What is the thinking of the benefit of moving them back to in person? Can you talk more about that?
State law.
State law, my goodness. Yeah. Okay. It just seems like a shift in making them less accessible than they presently are.
No comment on that, but I will say I think we've seen an increase. This is unofficial. This is just my observation. I think we've all seen the potential of the increase via YouTube and the virtual option for public participation. But it is state law that the boards commissions need to be in person. So this is what we.
And applicants will still be able to join virtually as opposed to in person, right?
So staff will be in person. That's a good question too. So staff will be in person, and we're asking that officers be in person. So the chair, vice chair, secretary of the commission. What we're waiting to hear back from law is that if all commissioners need to be in person, or barring officers, if there is to be a virtual attendance.
I better understand now.
Yeah, so we're waiting to hear back on that. Hopefully we'll have more information. But yes, applicants can still join virtually or in person.
As is the case for members of the public?
Yes.
Thank you. Got
yes. It. Yeah. Thank you for that clarification.
Great. So I guess when should we expect to get more details ahead of next month's? I guess if we have a hearing next month, when would we expect to get kind of details around the location and the timing?
Location, I think we can send out this week. I think we'll send out information. We have the learning lab reserved, 6th floor, city county building. We'll provide location, access, and stuff. For general public information, that'll be included on the agenda. Update the website.
Fantastic.
And we'll be testing this out. So at least next week, to hopefully iron out any kinks. But yeah, please work with us as we figure that out. It's a shift for all of us.
Sure. Any other questions from commissioners? Okay. Well, with that, then we will conclude the meeting. And the Public Art Commission meeting is adjourned at 2:41 p.m.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.